Now, we've given a dedicated chapter called Assessment Focus to just talking about these different zones of assessment, or these different moments of assessment. So we've talked you through the oral communication, the collection of tests, the assessment task, and now, of course, is this final examination. As Pauline mentioned earlier on, there are 23 asterisked learning outcomes for the final examination. Now, again, 23, maybe it seems like a lot, but if you consider this, these are things that you've been covering over the 2.5 years previous to this. And as we saw earlier on, as Pauline pointed out, most of these things we're doing as English teachers anyway. Okay, so there's not a lot of really new stuff. It's just that we formulated language around it. The final examination, the sample papers that have been produced already, they're going to be based on those 23 learning outcomes. What we've done is that we've basically taken a lot of, we've been informed by them, because as we pointed out earlier on, they'll probably change and revolve a lot. We were informed by these sample papers. And what we decided to do is, through the genre chapters we have in Book 2, is we have basically created an opportunity where students are basically tested as if they were an exam. So they have exam-style questions. So any of the genre chapters you flick through, you will see exam-focused questions like these. Things that are basically, like we said, informed by both learning outcomes, but also the style of question they're likely to get in a final exam. Along with that, we've also provided sample answers in different areas so the students can see what it's like to answer one of these questions in its full format. Okay, just a final little note on the final assessment. What we've included in the book as well, because obviously the final assessment is almost like that vague thing that's out there, we've basically taken apart those sample papers. We've come up with helpful vocabulary, typical exam language that students can kind of go to, understand a little bit better before they're expected to sit that final exam. I just want to bring you through some key dates, and I'm sure we're all really, really interested about these before I wrap up. At the moment, probably some of your colleagues, maybe some of yourselves, are trying to prepare for this oral communication task. Now, obviously, there's been a little bit of breathing space allowed this year. CBA 1, the oral communication, is either going to be taking place between the 29th of April and the 20th of May this year. Okay, that's that 3-week block. Or it can be left until the autumn, so between the 9th and the 30th of September 2016. The second CBA, or the collection of texts, is due to be submitted by students on the 2nd of December 2016. So for any of you who've had to hand in CSPE projects before, or history Leaving Cert projects, it's the same kind of a notion. That's the deadline you're working towards. Okay, but they'll have been working on this for about 1.5 years. The assessment task, because it's directly related to CBA 2, will take place after that. So probably between the dates that have been given are between the 5th and the 9th of December 2016. Okay? Obviously, that assessment task, that can't be carried out without students having submitted their collection of work. And finally, the end game, the SEC examination, which is on June 2017.